The Invisible Monster Friend, Chapter 1. A strange new friend. Max was always told he had a wild imagination, but things got really weird the day Blurp showed up. Blurp wasn't just any imaginary friend. He was a squishy, blue-furred monster with bright yellow eyes, wobbly antennae, and a belly that jiggled when he laughed. The strange part? Only kids could see him. At first, Max thought Blurp was harmless fun. They had adventures in his backyard and even pranked his little sister by making toys float around the house. But one evening, just as the sun dipped below the horizon, Blurp's grin faded. "Listen, Max," he said in a hushed voice. "Something's coming, a shadowy monster, and it's following you. If we don't stop it by midnight, things could get messy." Chapter 2, The Shadow's Warning. Max's heart thumped. A shadow monster, that sounds bad. He whispered nervously, glancing at the window, and sure enough, just beyond the trees, a pair of glowing red eyes peeked from the darkness. Blurp explained that this creature was a fear snatcher, a mischievous monster that grows bigger by feeding on fear. If they didn't trap it by midnight, it would grow too powerful to stop. Determined to protect himself and his snacks, Max knew he couldn't do it alone. He called his best friends, Leo and Mia, for help. Chapter 3, Building the Ultimate Monster Trap. In the fading twilight, the three kids gathered in Max's backyard, armed with anything they could find. Ropes, nets, pillows, buckets, and Christmas lights. They sketched out a plan. It's gotta be big, messy, and impossible to escape, Leo said, adjusting his glasses. Like a Rube Goldberg machine for monsters. They got to work. Blurp cheered them on, throwing in silly ideas like, what if we hang a pizza slice as bait? As the trap took shape, the kids laughed, tangled in lights and tripping over pillows. By the time they were done, the backyard looked like a chaotic fortress with glowing string lights zigzagging across trees, blankets draped over bushes, and an elaborate net connected to a bucket filled with marbles. Chapter 4, A Midnight Showdown. Just as the clock struck 11:55 p.m., the shadow monster arrived. It slithered through the backyard, sneaking around the trap. Its body was hard to see, just a swirl of smoky darkness with glowing red eyes. The kids held their breath, hiding behind their blanket fort with Blurp. The shadow stepped into the trap, and boom! Nets flew into the air, buckets toppled, and marbles rolled everywhere. But instead of catching the monster, the trap misfired. The net flew backward, landing on Max, and the lights tangled Leo and Mia like twinkling spaghetti. Even Blurp got stuck upside down in a bush. The shadow monster loomed closer, and for a moment, everything felt hopeless. But then something surprising happened. Blurp made a silly noise, blap, and burst into laughter. Chapter 5, Laughter Saves the Day. Max started laughing too. "Blurp, what was that?" he asked, gas. "Blurp, what was that?" he asked. Gasping between giggles, Leo and Mia couldn't hold it in either. Soon, all three kids were laughing so hard they couldn't stop. And that's when the magic happened. The shadow monster, confused by the laughter, began to shrink. The more they laughed, the smaller it got until, with a final poof, it vanished into the night air. Chapter 6, The Best Night Ever. The kids collapsed under their blanket fort, still giggling. "Okay," Mia said, wiping tears from her eyes. "That might have been the worst trap ever, but it was awesome." Blurp grinned proudly. "I told you kids, monsters hate laughter." The night didn't go as planned, but Max didn't mind. He and his friends had built the coolest monster trap ever, faced a creepy shadow, and discovered that laughter really was the best weapon. And with Blurp by his side, Max knew every night would be an adventure.